Hello, welcome. Today we will talk about a very interesting and important concept in astrology. The name of this concept is sent bless, sinner. What does it mean? Its direct meaning is the company matters, not just for us, but it also matters for the planets. For example, let's say for work reasons, you are interacting with a group of 34 people. They're always talking about being healthy, go to the gym, eat healthy food. Pressed sometime. Company influences health consciousness. Family habits can change your food perspective. Avoid overthinking. Eat mindfully. If you marry into a family that says not to count your food, you might start believing them. Overthinking leads to obesity, so eat without thinking too much. It's up to you with food and drink. You might think they are right. Eat freely. Decide who to send, or consider a sinner with food and drink. In astrology, we divide this into 4 levels. Now you decide who should take the scent, who should take the sinner, or we leave it to you in the matter of food and drink. But when we talk about astrology, we will divide this concept into 4 levels. First, we have one planet with good dignity, a planet that is the ruler of a good house, but has gone into a bad house. One ruler of a good house has entered a bad house. This is a high planet sitting with a news planet. We will talk about the energy exchange on these 4 levels, because here we are also considering the lordship, taking their significance and discussing their own qualities as well. So, what happens is a planet that is well placed, strong, and dignified passes on good energy to others. And the one that is poorly placed, which has nothing to give, is giving just that. Because the simple thing is, we only offer what we have. If it's good, we'll say good things. At work, they'll do the same. If we have something good, then when we open our mouths, we will say something good. If someone wants to gossip about someone later, that's where they will go. Even if they come to the workplace, ultimately they will start doing the same things. And the person who wants to be productive, who wants to learn, will talk about doing something productive. Even at a kitty party, will discuss doing some business because the motive is something different. Ultimately, it's about the nature of the house. What the motive is, that's what we are discussing. But if we understand this in Bombay language, right? Like I'm saying that a low planet is sitting with a high planet. When a low planet says, I don't know what to do, you figure it out, brother, it means the low planet is being passive. The high planet takes responsibility to rectify or align things. Planet's duty hurts. It must rectify things, causing deterioration. That poor thing gets beaten up. And in that process, not just its condition, but its static promise also starts to deteriorate. The planet that is weak absorbs good energy like an ocean and reflects that back. Otherwise, what do we usually say? They say that yes, the condition of a weak planet will not improve, but try to see if it's receiving any good energy being passed on. It might be its condition is not that bad. All right, let's start with the same basic principle, which we take as energy exchange. So, what happens in this? As I mentioned, there is good energy, positive energy, and negative energy. Both energies are combined due to a lot of reasons because of natural signification, or in that way, they are combined. So they are passing on their qualities to each other. Now let's talk about their levels. The first level is one planet with good dignity and another planet with good dignity. Like if we talk about Saturn and the sun being in Capricorn, then obviously Saturn is in its own sign. It is stronger today compared to the sun, which is in its enemy sign and is sitting with that enemy. Now, the important thing to observe here is whether Saturn will support the Sun, given that they have enmity. When we talk about friendship, we should say, hey, this is our guy. If it needs help, then we help it. Just like our nature, the nature of the planets is also similar. We will try to do something for that planet that is out of the page. When you don't have friendship and you have a planet like that, you won't even try to help it first. And it will feel like a burden on you where it is trying to forcefully move something from you. After that, when exalted planets are with debilitated planets, it's like a good house owner moving into a bad house. What are considered good houses? Don't let the center harm you. Good houses are when their lords move into bad houses. We consider the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses to be bad houses. Then a lord of a bad house comes into a good house. That means the lords of the 3rd, 6th, and 11th houses in the center or triangle. Today, the lords of the 8th and 12th houses are not bad. Those houses are bad. The 11th house is not bad, and the 3rd house is not bad, but their lords are very bad. That is why they are called three climes. So, when the lords of the 3rd, 6th, and 11th houses enter good houses, they are combining one negative energy with one positive energy. Negative energy is sorted. Let's see an example chart. It has become good for me, but it doesn't stay that good for positive energy. We will see this with an example chart. First of all, good dignity, planet with the planet, the weak dignity. Now let's talk about friendship. It will be a bit easier. For example, if there is a conjunction of the Sun and Mars in Capricorn, what will happen? Mars is exalted, affecting the Sun in Capricorn. Even from the work point of view, the Sun is in a bad position in Capricorn because Mars is stronger and the Sun is weaker. They are friends. So this is the goodness of Mars, that it has to help the Sun. So the natural traits of the Sun will come out more positively. What are qualities of Sun? Become more determined, become fruitful, have a strong sense of responsibility and chances of becoming famous. Any of the yogas from this will be able to provide the Sun. First, we will look at which yogas are present in the horoscope. If a person is determined, truthful, and responsible, the Sun will provide them with even better qualities. All right? But Mars, because it is agitated, has a burden on it. So what will happen in that case? It will become a bit aggressive. It will become aggressively aggressive. Because we talk about exalted Mars. Exactly, but know how. When. So, the project will determine how much stamina each one has. They'll not back down and start fighting. Now, the significations of Mars will also start to turn negative. Like there will be property, or in a way, I should have on the highway two fire element planets in the same sign. If they are impacting your personality, if they are compacting the qualities of Mars, then we will talk more about these things. Similarly, if the Sun and Mars are in conjunction in the signs. So, for the evening, this is the same sign, and this is the enemy sign for Mars. Mars is hard position. Yes, we'll do it. See? And Virgo is a very analytical sign where Virgo doesn't feel that comfortable with Mars. They feel like man staying stuck in calculations all day, thinking about small things, getting into the nitty gritty. I am getting a lot of news here. So when Mars is here and you are with the Sun, then the Sun is trying to support them. They will support their partnership like this, wherever they are sitting or wherever they are. From that, we will understand the whole picture. And when Mars is gaining strength, what will happen? You will be rightly forceful, you will be balanced and serene, you will be calculative. All right. I will be a little better. Now, if the Sun is using its energy, then the Sun can become a bit selfish because the mind oriented Virgo is a somewhat selfish sign, showing sinful behavior and being a little dull witted, like intentionally becoming dull witted. Such tweets can come. Having one exalted planet sitting with one debilitated planet means like being a kid and eating sweets. What's happening here? We're talking about an energy exchange that you have to take care of me because I'm the one. If Mercury and Venus's association happens in Pisces, then Venus is in its exaltation sign in Pisces and Mercury is in its debilitation sign. So the whole board is on Venus and Mercury is coming out. If I were to say it this way, I would say that those who will be there will be a bit more articulate, good in accountancy, skilled in trade, but you will see that they will be more artistic and deep thinkers. Any sign that can extract good from Mercury and Pisces will do so because they get support from the watery sign and watery planets. So they will come out well from there. It is said that those who have a strong Mercury are very good at accountancy, but there are many people whose Mercury is in debilitation. I read a research paper on this, and it is in the field of accountancy. Now, since Venus is becoming weak, what will happen because of that? Issues like dual relationships, using your friends, benefit. It can also happen because Mercury represents friends and Venus is losing its energy, it's getting drained out. While Mercury is showing duality, Mercury strengthens Venus, making relationships practical. If Mercury is in its exalted sign and Venus in its debilitated sign, Venus becomes strong, relationships become more practical and fruitful. Mercury also shows its intelligence. Relationships will become a little practical and trivial. Mercury will manipulate women depending on the Lagna. These promises are shown. You might also see things like manipulating women for personal gain depending on the Lagna. These promises are also being shown. After this association, you'll say, now, since the association of the conjunction is happening in Libra, Saturn is becoming very strong. Sun weak persist, lions disrupt. But many times, it is seen that even after putting in a lot of hard work, the results don't come. These two lions are spoiling the Libra sign of the Kalpurush. So there can be a high chance of relationships deteriorating, but it could be that good government employees are getting good government jobs. You like working for the masses. We talked about the good traits of the sun because they are getting support from Saturn and the Libra sign, forcibly removing what positivity that could be a trap from Saturn. Potential health issues may be more related to Saturn. Whenever you see two malefic planets sitting in one sign, check their Kal Purush, significance, and which house they fall into in your chart. Definitely check and ask what's going on in this area. Another thing is that the Lord of a good house goes into a bad house. Let's take an example of good houses like the Kendra and Trikona and bad houses like the 8th, 12th, and 1st. If we look at the 12th house in terms of wealth, how will we see it? Look, when the 12th house is receiving energy, it is getting very good energy from the Lord of a good house. Now, where will he spend that money? He will spend it on good things, on children, on learning, on education, and he will broaden his horizons. That's fine. But the children are going into the 8th house from themselves and are going into the houses of the chart. Now, if they get a bad sign there, it will become very bad, provided they get a decent sign. Then we will not talk so much about flexion. But the entry of good energy into a bad house is good for the 12th house, but not good for this. Now, sometimes it may happen that we say that if the lord of the 5th house is a natural malefic, then if a natural malefic comes into the 12th house, it is causing pain to the 12th. Or if a natural malefic comes into the earth, it is causing pain to the earth. We will also discuss that. Then, the lord of a bad house has come into a good house. Who are the lords of bad houses? The lords of the 3rd, 6th, and 11th houses are considered to be malefic. They have some hidden flaws in their minds. The 11th house lord is the worst when it comes to entering the Kendra. And Trikona, a scene is being created with negative and positive influences. Now, what will happen is if my 3rd lord is going into the 7th house, then all my efforts are going towards sustaining my marriage. The 3rd house is our negotiation house. So the marriage becomes a bit negotiation based, which I have seen as the most negative pact. But you see, the 3rd house is receiving good energy. Where are your efforts and attempts going? They are going into the 7th house, in meeting and interacting with people. The Lord of the 5th house has entered the trine house, and we are talking about desire fulfillment. Now, talking about the 7th house, your partner's Lord is definitely there. But the forward Lord is sitting there, and all the burden is on you. The pressure is coming entirely on you from the 7th house. So it's not good for you. Although it's good for your thoughts, that's a different matter. Your hobbies will be fulfilled. After marriage, that's a different matter. Take an example. If the 6th lord goes into the 9th house, it's good for your competition because it has received a good house. Your fortune will also shine through the competition, but it's not good for the father. You are providing your father with the energy of your 6th house, so challenges and struggles will always come into your father's life, giving water. Now we are judging this chart based on different parameters. This is the lady's chart. First, home, wife. She lives in a metropolitan city. First, we will talk about the country, the character, and the time. And then we will look at Saturn in their start promises. Saturn is my 9th lord. This is my yoga factor planet. Saturn's role in the 8th house. The role of Saturn is to uplift my chart, not to bring it down. Wherever I go, this girl has given her fortune to her losses. After her marriage, there was a significant monetary growth in her treatment. In fact, they were nothing. They had hotel that wasn't doing well. There are many hotels and they are doing very well. But because Saturn is a gold planet, there is a separative planet that is related to relationships with the Lord, and it is not very good. What I was saying is that what kind of energy that house is receiving encountering a Saturn. Saturn is a planet that keeps distance. Because of their relationship, we valued them and said that you have given your fortune to your losses. So that was good. But what about Saturn? Saturn is my ascendant, my 10th lord, and has actually gone into the house. However, she is not a victim. They got balanced amount. Their husband doesn't let them work. She tried a lot of work related to makeup, travel, and tourism, and also tried working from home. But due to the pressure from her husband and the law, she is unable to work because your 10th house has gone into the 8th. And shortly after their marriage, their father's health also deteriorated a bit. Now let's talk about the moon. The moon rules a bad house, but got a good one due to good centers. The moon creates efforts and struggles. What does moon want to do? The moon wants to create efforts and struggles. The main aim when he is coming there, he is receiving so much strength, so he wants to fulfill the significations of the third house. Sitting in the house, where is the focus? On creating happiness and making a home to give a motherly impact. Wherever someone comes into the house, they should feel good and relaxed. But who did they meet there? They met Ketu. The moon in Purva Falguni is generally a bit relaxed, pressurized, and a party animal. There, in Leo, in Purva Falguni, they receive the energy of Ketu. Even if you are putting your complete efforts into making your home very loving, it is happening. That due to the Rahu Ketu axis, your fourth house and the significator, the moon is at 20 points. So there is no mental peace because the marriage is spoiled. Now let's move on to Jupiter. Jupiter is my ethereal level lord. It has come to me. It is in Digbali and it has also gained strength from being in the sign of Capricorn. So that is strong. My aim is that I have your strong. I have placed it on my head like a crown, but it is my most mischievous planet because it is the 11th lord and it doesn't bring me any good from anywhere inside. Its significations, its matters will only frustrate me. One thing you should always notice is that there is an effect of planets like the 7th lord, the sun, and Jupiter. They always worry about what people will say, meaning that they shouldn't get a divorce because society doesn't allow it. And that's not right. What will happen to these children? What will happen to them? You are doing it because you want to do it. If Mars is your significator planet, the yoga planet, and it comes into a yoga that breaks marriages, if you give a little marriage because you want to see, eventually I want a person. Once that is your yoga planet, and it is the significator of fights, then you will feel good having Jupiter, which is the law, and it is keeping the marriage intact. Jupiter being the lord of 8th house and being strong in 11th Ladhok, money will come to me, my life will be good. But now it comes to my quality of life, which activates my recon, my dharma, and looks at my 7th aspect. So I am bound in a marriage where I do not want to be. She knows that her husband is having an extramarital affair, but still, because of societal pressure, because of parents, because of having kids, they are in that relationship and are not happy at all. Now, whether to consider Jupiter's aspect, which doesn't want to allow a divorce or is letting it happen, as good or bad, I leave that up to you. Now, let's talk about the Sun-Mercury association. Which one is becoming strong in this? This is friendly sign Sun. The Sun is currently moving towards Digbali, and Mercury is in the sign of 0. It is in a sign where their qualities and wealth do not match. This sign considers Mercury to be an enemy. If I say that Mercury's tweets are coming out more, this means that communication skills will be overflowing in the craft because Mercury is good and is in a water sign. These tweets remain intact. No sign is such that it doesn't provide something to any planet. He will definitely get something. And if we say that the sun is going under pressure, then it's stressing your voice. That's what she is not able to do. When we talk about lordships, you are losing out on your mental peace because of your family, because of your second house and your fifth house. You might have liked this concept. This concept is very important. Who is your association with? If a strong planet is your friend, it helps. Consider a benefic planet in a malefic house. Similarly, when we talk about a benefic planet going into a malefic house, you should also consider the other principles and not miss them. Look at what sign it has entered, what associations it has, what is the nature of that planet itself. Will he let himself be used or will he fight back? But remember to base your company metals. Thank you so much.